Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Revelations from Minister Vidyaratna. Allegations against Kirti Tennakon. The National People's Power Government has an agreement with the general public and not with those who oppress the people and destroy the country, says parliamentarian Manuvarna. 2 new appellate court judges appointed. 2025 appropriation bill presented in Parliament. Bill for new nominations for local government elections presented to Parliament. Signs of the UNP and the SJB uniting.
මේ මොහොත වෙනකොට අපේ කණ්ඩායමක් සමගි ජන බලවේගයත් එක්ක යම් සාකච්ඡාවට පවත්වාගෙන යනවා.
අපි බලනවා මේ පක්ෂ දෙක එකට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්ද?
No impact from Chinese viruses. A statement from the health minister in Parliament. Wildfires in Los Angeles intensify. Over 100,000 evacuated.
Now, starting off with your top story tonight, some concerning news from the United States. At least 5 people have died as several wind-driven fires blazing across Los Angeles County remain mostly uncontained. The Palisades fire that is scorching the seaside area between Malibu and Santa Monica has exploded to more than 17,000 acres with zero containment. It is the most destructive ever to hit Los Angeles County. Newsfirst Joad Abdeen brings you more on this on World Today.
During the past few days, news that has been making headlines is the fire in Los Angeles. Now today we bring you this in detail. There are now at least 7 fires in Los Angeles and some of its neighboring counties. The largest 2 in the Palisades and Eaton first ignited on Tuesday and have collectively burned nearly 27,000 acres since. And now you see some of these visuals on the fire. At least 137,000 people have been forced to evacuate from these fires alone. Among the other blazes is the Hearst fire, which broke out in the Silma neighborhood north of San Fernando, and the Sunset fire, which recently erupted in the Hollywood Hills near Runyon Canyon. Now, while all this is happening, while this chaos is happening in America, the question is, what is the government's response to this? Now, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said in a statement that US President Joe Biden has cancelled his trip to Italy to focus on directing federal response to the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, at the same time, she added that the president has also met with the police, fire and emergency personnel while he was in Los Angeles earlier. Now, Biden at the same time was originally scheduled to visit Rome from the 9th to 12th January to meet Pope Francis, Italy's President Sergio Mattarella and the Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, which would have been the final trip of his presidency, as we do know that President-elect Donald Trump is set to take office from the 20th January. President Joe Biden, addressing the public, said that US government is prepared to do anything and everything as long as it takes to contain the wildfires in and help reconstruct Southern California. The president at the same time said he had earlier approved California Governor Gavin Newsom's request for a major disaster declaration and has also ordered federal assistance to supplement response efforts in the affected areas. Now, the Pentagon is continuing to closely monitor the wildfires in Southern California and has also briefed its governor on the latest development. Now, Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh says In a recent statement, at the President's direction, the Department of Defense will provide additional firefighting personnel and capabilities. At the same time, the National Guard, which has been deployed in California since Governor Gavin Newsom issued a state of emergency last night, is working closely with the federal government. Now, these visuals you see right behind me is the latest fire that broke out in Los Angeles, the Sunset Fire, which broke out at the Hollywood Hills. Now, officials have confirmed another fire has broken out in the Hollywood Hills near Runyon Canyon. Runyon Canyon and the Hollywood Hills are among the most famous parts of Los Angeles and are home to the iconic Hollywood sign, just like you see in the movies. Now, the fire in Hollywood Hills is officially being called the Sunset Fire by the LA Fire Department. Now, the mandatory evacuation zone caused by the fire in the Hollywood Hills is affecting several famous landmarks. Now, among a few of them is the Dolby Theatre, where the Academy Awards ceremony is held, is also in the evacuation zone, as is the Hollywood Bowl Outdoor Amphitheatre and the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, this zone, that is the evacuation zone, is between the 101 freeway and also on the east, that is, and the Laurel Canyon on the west. Now, when you check it on the north, it's the Mulholland Drive on the north and Hollywood Boulevard on the south. Many of the roads near the blaze, including the iconic Hollywood Boulevard, which includes the Hollywood Walk of Fame, are gridlocked with traffic. Now, there are also some even driving on the wrong side of the road to escape this fire. Now, the inferno could be seen from nearby freeways, lighting up the dark with bright red hues. Now, while this is one of the biggest disasters that is affecting the Los Angeles, the question is, what impact does it make to the economy? Now, AccuWeather, a commercial weather forecasting service, estimates the California wildfire caused between $52 billion and $57 billion in damage. Now, the private weather forecaster also warned the economic losses could increase, while AccuWeather chief meteorologist Jonathan Porter said, should a large number of additional structures be burned in the coming days, this may become the worst wildfire in California history based on the number of structures burned and economic loss. While the eastern United States is battling with fires across several states, the southwestern United States is bracing us for an expected arrival of freezing rain and snow. Quite poetic, isn't it? An area stretching from Texas to Tennessee braced yesterday for the expected arrival of freezing rain and snow, as some other parts of the country that already received an Arctic blast this week prepared to go another round with the plunging polar vortex. While one part of US is on fire, another is facing freezing temperatures. And in both cases, due to adverse weather conditions, people seeking shelter have been forced to even abandon vehicles on the road and flee to safety. I am Joad Abdin for the Newsfirst team, and it's back to the studios.
In some local news, Minister of Plantations and Community Infrastructure Samantha Widyarathna held a press conference in Colombo today to make a significant revelation. This announcement was made in response to several recent media reports.
A newspaper reported that a 120 million rupee project to provide electricity to a village was obstructed by a politician from Badulla. A group of innocent villagers gathered to protest, and the media reported this, mentioning my name and falsely accusing me of blocking a beneficial electricity project. Several media outlets published similar reports. I want to clarify that these reports are incorrect and filled with false accusations. As a minister, I have not personally intervened to stop any such electricity project. We investigated where this electricity was being provided from and found a Gazette notification from 2013 declaring the Bogahapalassa Forest Reserve, which spans across the Badula and Munaragala districts. The problematic electricity projects are mostly in the Badula district, specifically in the Mahalanda area of the Haldamulla Divisional Secretariat. According to the Gazette, the Bogahapalassa Reserve covers 44,422.5 hectares. After Gotabaya Rajapaksa became president during a public discussion program, it was publicly stated that these lands, which were part of the forest reserve, were ancestral lands of some villagers and should be released to them. We acknowledge that there are innocent villagers in the Mahalanda area whose lands should be released and they should be provided with electricity. We have no objection to that. However, a group of racketeers used this verbal statement to instruct officials to illegally occupy 5,482 acres of forest reserve land. They have started using these lands. The 5,482 acres in question are within the forest reserve, and 120 million rupees is being spent to provide electricity to these lands. This was done using the power of the government at the time. Here is a Google map clearly showing the forest reserve lands. The main issue is identify who had taken these lands. We found that a person named KT Ranjit applied for these lands. Upon further investigation, we discovered that the ID number used belongs to Kirti Tennakon. We found his application with the ID number, which matches Kirti Tennakon's ID number, except for a dot that was removed. Kirti Tennakon, the former governor and president's secretary, is the one who applied for these lands. He has 18 acres, with 5 acres in the lowlands and 13 acres in the highlands. There is a clear fraud here. The signature on the application is forged. Kirti Tennakon's real signature as the former Additional Director General is different from the forged one that he used to claim that he did not apply for the lands. Even though the ID number was altered, the signature remains a forgery. I have a video to show that Kirti Tennakon has these lands.
මේ තියෙන්නේ කීර්තිගේ ඇත්ත අස්සන. මේ තියෙන ඇත්ත අස්සන. මේ තියෙන්නේ ව්‍යාජෝ තමන් ඉඩම් ඉල්ලන්නේ නැහැ කියලා පෙන්වන්න වෙන ගහපු අස්සන. හැඳුනුම්පත් අංක වෙනස් කරලා ගහපු අස්සන. දැන් මේ කීර්ති තෙන්නකොට මෙතන ඉඩමක් තියෙනවා කියලා මම වීඩියෝ එකක් පෙන්වන්නම්කෝ. දැන් අපිට වීඩියෝ පටයක් තියෙනවා ඒක පෙන්වන්නම්කෝ. මේ පැත්තටයිද? ඒ ආණ්ඩු වර්ධන. කවුද? ඒකේ කේජි මාතේ. කීර්ති තෙන්නකොට. ඔයා දැන් ඔයා කොච්චර ඉස්සරහට කරනවද? මම අක්කර 25ක් කරනවා. ඔව්. බලපත්‍රයක් කොහොම ඔයක හදාගෙනත් නැහැ. නෑ නෑ. කාටවත් බලපත්‍ර නැහැ. කොයි කාලෙන්ද අනුගණන් වලින්ද? ඔව් ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මම ලන්දු තිබුණේ ඒ කාලේ ඉඳලා වවනවා. අපේ 12 දියකට මේ ආවේ. මුල්ගම් කොහෙද? මම ගෙවල් මුල්ලේ ළමලි පිටියේ. ළමලි. ඔව්. මේ කවුරුත් පිටින් ආපු කට්ටිය තමයි මේ කට්ටිය කවුරුවත් නැහැ.
We reached out to the former governor, Ranjit Kirti Tennakon, for his comment on this matter. He said that he would provide his thoughts on the matter at a later time.
Parliamentarian Jagat Manuvarna highlighted in Parliament today that the government of the National People's Power has entered into an agreement with the general public and not with those who burden the people and destroyed the country. He made this statement speaking during the adjournment debate on the cost of living.
You may remember that people who promoted fiction like a snake coming out of the Kalni River and other similar lies pit communities against each other for political gain, and they are now coming to blame us. You remember them speaking about kottu and undergarments that make women barren. They deceive the people of this country, spreading stories about Dr. Shafi Shahabdeen, and they pit the Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim communities against each other for political gain. Now they are asking us to only speak the truth to the people. They are coming to teach us how to speak the truth to the people. We would like to ask these people, what have you paid for the wrong that you did in the past? We would like to ask them, what is the price that you are going to pay for the mental stress caused to the children of Dr. Shafi and the plight of Dr. Shafi? They are not here today. If you hear this, please answer. Do not come to teach us how to govern this country. There was fraud, corruption, theft and murder in this country. An MP who spoke before me is asking us not to look into these things that happened in the past because they are all a fantasy. No, The people of this country gave us power to punish those who committed those crimes, to nab those thieves and corrupt individuals. We do not have an agreement with you. Our agreement is with the people. Also, we began the Clean Sri Lanka program recently. They are trying to misinterpret this program and mislead the people. The police is removing unauthorized modifications on vehicles along the road. That is the police implementing the law. That is not something specifically implemented under the Clean Sri Lanka program. They are trying to interpret this and say that the Clean Sri Lanka program is all about removing additional accessories from buses. The Clean Sri Lanka program has a much broader meaning. Therefore, please learn to be patient. It's only been 50 days since we came into power. Therefore, please be patient. The general public has that patience.
Two newly appointed Court of Appeal justices were formally sworn in before President Anurakumara Dissanayake at the Presidential Secretariat this morning.
Accordingly, the appointments were conferred upon attorneys at law K.M.S. Dissanayake and R.P. Hettiarachchi, who took their oaths in the presence of the President. Pradeep Hettiarachchi served as a judge at the Commercial High Court, while K.M.S. Dissanayake served as a judge at the Kandy Provincial High Court.
The appropriation bill for the year 2025 was presented in Parliament today. The government has estimated an expenditure of 4,616 billion rupees for the period from the 1st of January to the 31st of December.
The largest allocation for 2025 is designated for the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, amounting to 713 billion rupees. The Ministry of Defence has been allocated 442 billion rupees. The Ministry of Health and Media has been allocated 507 billion rupees. The Ministry of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation has been allocated 473.4 billion rupees. The Ministry of Women and Child Affairs has been allocated 406 billion rupees, while the Ministry of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development has been allocated 399.16 billion rupees. The Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government has been allocated 496 billion rupees. The Ministry of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Training has been allocated 271 billion rupees. The Ministry of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs has been allocated 175 billion rupees, while the Ministry of Justice and National Integration has been allocated 54 billion rupees. The Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Land and Irrigation has been allocated 207 billion rupees. Under the Special Expenditure Unit, the President's operational program has been allocated 2.5 billion rupees for recurrent expenses and 354 billion rupees for capital expenses. 120 million rupees has been allocated for development programs. The Prime Minister's office has been allocated 72 billion rupees for operational programs. The second reading of the appropriation bill is scheduled for the 17th of February. The debate on the second reading will be held from the 18th of February to the 25th, with the vote on the second reading taking place on the afternoon of the 25th of February. The committee stage debate, also known as the third reading of the budget, is scheduled to be held from the 27th of February to the 21st of March, with the vote taking place on the 21st of March.
The Special Provisions Bill for local government elections, aimed at calling for new nominations and conducting elections for local government bodies, was presented to Parliament today.
This bill is intended to establish provisions for calling new nominations and conducting elections for certain local government bodies, as well as for related or ancillary matters.
Saman Ratnapriya, the Kasbav organizer of the United National Party, has stated that the Samaki Janabala Vegya should join forces with the UNP if it wishes to move forward. The General Secretary of the Samaki Janabala Vegya, Kabir Hashim, mentioned that they are exploring ways to unite the two parties.
During a press conference held today, former parliamentarian Saman Ratnapriya said that the current approach of the SJB is not sufficient to gain power.
සමගි ජන බලවේගය කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයමනේ. දැන් මේ මොහොත වෙනකොට
What is a Samagi Jana Balavegaya? It is essentially the United National Party. Currently, some of our members are holding discussions with the SJB. I believe that official discussions will commence soon. SJB MPs publicly state that the current approach will never lead to gaining power. They believe that joining with the UNP is the only way to move forward with confidence and achieve leadership in the country.
කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ.
Kabir Hashim, the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Sandhaniya, shared his thoughts on this matter during a conference in Colombo yesterday.
අපි බලනවා මේ
We are considering whether these two parties can work together. There was a slight chance in our thinking at one point, and the SJB started thinking new. That is one reason we stepped out. We are discussing whether we can bring everything together and whether our future working methods will align. There are several complex issues and we are having very open discussions. The SJB, as a young new party, still maintains its identity.
That's it.
Tonight, we take a look at how 175 million rupees in public funds was wasted.
What happened to the village?
This is the Haliyala Silpolagama water project. The foundation stone was laid in 2021. An estimated budget of 175 million rupees was allocated for this project. Politicians from the entire province attended the inauguration and the work began with much enthusiasm. However, to this date, Silpolgama still does not have water.
ගොඩක් දුරින් තමයි වතුර ගේන්න යන්නේ රෙජිසෝ දන නාන්න කිලෝමීටර් දෙකක් විතර දුර යන්න ඕනේ.
ගහලා තියෙන ටැංකියේ කම්බි හැම ඔක්කොම දිරලා තියෙන්නේ වල් පැලවිලා ඇමතිලා ඇවිල්ලා මේ මුල් ගල එහෙම තියලා ගියා. තාම කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් විසඳුන්නේ නැහැ.
ට්‍රැක්ටර් වලින් ගෙනලා තමයි මේ පරිහරණය කරන්නේ. ඒ වතුර ට්‍රැක්ටරයක් ගේන්න රුපියල් 2000ක් දෙන්න ඕනි දවසකට.
The project was proposed to supply water not only to Silpolagama but also to Hapuatta, Dematavalhinna and Mahavattegama. If completed, this project would provide water to 1,000 families.
බොණ්ඩ වතුර නෑ වැහි වතුරට තමයි එකතු කරගන්නේ වැහි වතුරත් රිලව් වහලේ ඇවිද්දා මේව ගන්නත් බෑ පන්සල දැන් කරගෙන යන්නත් බොහොම අමාරුයි වතුර නැති නිසා දාම් පාසල් කරගන්නත් විදියක් නැහැ උපාසකම්මලා වතුර ටිකක් ගෙනත් දෙන එක තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ.
Why did this project come to a halt? Did the work stop due to a lack of funds, or did the allocated funds disappear? While investigating these questions, wouldn't it be beneficial to complete this project quickly?
What happened to the village?
4 years after a fire, several Sri Lankan families in the hill country still struggle to survive in an abandoned factory.
Imagine being forced to live in such dire conditions. How would you feel? The Gum at the Door-to-Door team in Hatton encountered our fellow Sri Lankans who have been enduring this harsh reality for years.
4 years ago, a devastating fire forced the residents of the line houses in the New Valley village in Hatton to leave their homes. With nowhere else to go, 14 families found refuge in the abandoned ground floor of a tea factory. The upper floor houses a technical college. All these families share a single toilet. The resilience in the face of such adversity is both heartbreaking and inspiring. This morning, the Gammadda team visited the village of Dikkoya, Daravala, Hattonvatta and Panmurvatta in Hatton. In the island of Nagadeepa, approximately 200 families of fisherfolk struggle daily to make ends meet. These fisherfolk, already burdened by the economic hardships, face constant harassment from Indian fishermen in the Sea of Sri Lanka, further exacerbating their plight. Adding to their woes is the lack of a proper landing platform or a pier to anchor their fishing boats, making their daily tasks even more challenging. The GAMMAD, the door-to-door team, has been on the ground witnessing firsthand the resilience and determination of these families. The local fishing community is appealing to those in power to support their needs and to build a pier that will help them build a better life.
GAMMAD, door to door.
News First with the people. Life's not about lines, it's about breaking free. It's not about boxes, it's about exploding beyond them. You're the miracle generation. Leading the way, rocking a magical vibe. Unleash your vibe. YFM Relax Party.
නව යෞවනියන් නව ජවයකින් ක්‍රිකට් පිටියේ නව යුගයක් සටහන් කිරීමට සූදානම්. ICC වයස අවුරුදු 19න් පහළ කාන්තා T20 ලෝක කුසලාන ක්‍රිකට් තරගාවලිය 2025 රටවල් 16ක් සාඩම්බර කුසලානයක් අලංකාර තරගාවලියක් ජනවාරි 18 වෙනිදා සිට TV1 සමග රැඳෙන්න.
Welcome back to the news. A shooting incident at the Ahungalla three-wheeler park left one person injured.
The shooting occurred around 6 a.m. today at the three-wheeler park located at the Ahungalla junction on the Galle-Colombo main road. According to Sri Lanka police, two individuals had arrived on a motorcycle and shot at a person sitting in a parked three-wheeler before fleeing the scene. The injured individual has been identified as Nandasiri De Silva, a 52-year-old resident of Bogahapitiya, Ahungalla. Sri Lanka police reported that the victim sustained 4 gunshot wounds to his shoulder and surrounding areas.
It has been found that one of his close associates is linked to certain organized criminal gangs. However, this individual is not involved. We have received some information related to this incident, and based on that we will conduct further investigations to apprehend the criminals involved.
Investigations by Sri Lanka police have revealed that the shooters involved in the Watarappala shooting in Mount Lavinia arrived on a stolen motorcycle. Sri Lanka police stated that the motorcycle was stolen from the Hangwala area. The shooting, which occurred early the day before yesterday, resulted in the deaths of 2 residents of Watarappala Road, Mount Lavinia, aged 36 and 20. The police reported that 2 unidentified individuals arrived on a motorcycle, carried out the shooting and fled the scene. Subsequently, the motorcycle suspected to have been used by the shooters was found abandoned on a side road in Munagama, Horana. The police also discovered that the shooting was a result of a conflict between 2 organized criminals known as Badovita Asanka and Kosmalli.
The third shooting incident of 2025 was reported from Ahungalla today. Is this a crime wave?
Statistically, there were 120 shootings in 2023 and 103 shootings in 2024. However, shootings by organized criminals decreased from 65 in 2023 to 56 in 2024. Recent shootings have caused public concern about a potential crime wave. We must eliminate this completely. We aim to create a safe environment where people can walk without fear. We have operations and plans in place to achieve this.
How are so many firearms circulating in society?
Examining the firearms used in the recent shootings, we see a pattern of organized activity. The same firearms or similar ones are often used, suggesting a rental system. We are investigating this rental process.
Has the operation
Operation Justice or Yuktiya been halted.
We continuously conducted anti-crime and anti-drug operations. Previously, we had a special operation named Yuktiya. We have now refined our approach and continue our operations. Last year, we apprehended 56 organized criminals. Our ultimate goal remains the eradication of crime and drugs, and the Sri Lanka police is committed to this mission.
What happens to criminals abroad?
We have issued 188 red notices through Interpol, with 63 of them targeting organized criminal. These individuals are in countries like Dubai, India, Italy, France and Canada. This process is ongoing and we aim to bring these masterminds back to Sri Lanka to face justice.
Dr. Nalindra Jayatissa, the Minister of Health and Media, commented on the potential impact that Sri Lanka could suffer from the new virus reportedly spreading across China.
There has been significant media coverage regarding the virus spreading in China, particularly the HMPV, human metapneumovirus. Both the media and the public are concerned about whether this virus could spread or cause harm similar to COVID-19. We hope to hear about the measures the ministry has taken and plans on how to respond to this situation.
Honourable MP, we are monitoring this situation very carefully. By the Sri Lanka Medical Association, she correctly mentioned that such a case has been reported previously, but some media outlets reported it as if a new case had been identified. I urge these media organizations to act responsibly. Media is not just about views, ratings or profit. These are sensitive issues that affect people's lives and the country's stability. We must act based on scientific data. Such sensitive matters also impact the economy. We have designated 20 locations to test for this virus. Recently there was a suspected case, but the test results were negative. We will report the truth about the current situation. However, using the professor's statement to create fear and increase ratings is unacceptable. I urge the media to think about the country and refrain from such actions.
Minister of Energy, Engineer Kumar Jayakodis, said at the Parliament today that the government's strategy is to gradually lower electricity tariffs by 30% over the next 3 years. This announcement was made in response to a question raised by the opposition regarding the recent revision of electricity tariffs.
The President and Ministers made it clear prior to assuming office that the government would reduce electricity costs by 35% within a short period. However, despite this short time period already gone, the Electricity Board has now said that this reduction cannot be implemented until next June.
Our goal is to reduce the electricity bill. We have never said that we will do this in a matter of days. It is a process intended to unfold over a 3-year period. The people have already borne the consequences of previous administrations' corrupt and irregular policies, which have left the Electricity Board with a debt of 332 billion rupees. Additionally, the cost of electricity, which initially started at 22 rupees, surged to 37 rupees before returning back to 27 rupees. The Electricity Board's initial calculation included a proposal to increase prices by 37% with no provision for concessions. Due to this, the process of reduction takes time. We were told that the reduction would take place, but in reality, it is set to unfold over a period of 3 years. However, we aim to expedite this process and are actively working on necessary plans and programs. Some media outlets refer to these as proposals for reducing the electricity tariff, but this is not the case. It is a proposal for the amendment of the electricity tariff.
You are lying. Instead of misleading Parliament, if you acknowledge that there is a loss, please clarify the exact amount of that loss. The reason for this is that all of your existing debts have in fact been cleared by now.
The parliamentarian has truly mixed up the facts. If you can prove that the debts of the Electricity Board have been transferred to the Treasury, this claim is a complete lie. The debt of 332 billion rupees is still there, and not a single cent has been taken over by the Treasury or the government. That debt is being paid. Asking questions based on these falsehood is a disservice to this house. If a profit of 167 billion rupees was truly possible, where did that come from? There is also 41 billion which we have absorbed and submitted for the price revision.
Hambantota International Port achieved a growth rate of 22% in 2024, matching its performance from the previous year.
With its sights set on even higher numbers in 2025, the Hambantota International Port said that it is implementing upgrades to its infrastructure, including the introduction of gantry and yard cranes in the container yard. These enhancements are part of Hambantota International Port's strategy to meet the growing demands of the shipping and logistics market, while positioning itself as a key player in the Indian Ocean region. The port's bulk and break bulk cargo sectors saw remarkable progress in 2024. During the first half of the year, volumes rose by 134% compared to the same period in 2023, increasing from 236,012 metric tons to 552,297 metric tons. This surge was largely attributed to the recovery of Sri Lanka's construction sector, which collapsed in 2022, leading to a spike in cement imports. Hambantota International Port has also cemented its reputation as a hub for bulk cargo distribution in Sri Lanka, with further growth expected by year-end. Gas operations at the port also flourished, with LPG gas volumes increasing by 46% in the first half of 2024, climbing from 127,232 metric tons to 185,214 metric tons. The port recorded a 100% increase in LPG throughput during the second quarter compared to 2023. HIP expanded its services in the energy sector by offering LPG vessel gas ups and direct bunker supplies, while also preparing for liquid bulk ship-to-ship operations. These developments emphasize HIP's focus on promoting the energy sector as a key growth market. A groundbreaking achievement for HIP in 2024 was the launch of its inaugural container transshipment service in April, operated by the Mediterranean Shipping Company. HIP transitioned into a fully fledged container port handling 43,777 TEUs by mid-year, a staggering increase from just 44 TEUs during the same period in 2023. This milestone marked a 99,300% growth in the container segment and positioned HIP as a potential container transfer center in the region. To support this new operation, the port is developing a dedicated container yard to handle transshipment services.
Sri Lanka and JICA have agreed to expedite the completion of the BIA Terminal 2 development project.
A high-level delegation led by Shohei Hara, Senior Vice President of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, met with the Chairman of the Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited to discuss key aspects of the BIA Terminal 2 development project. The discussion centered on critical factors to ensure the success of the transformative initiative. Both parties emphasized the need to enhance the effectiveness of project management and improve the quality of consultancy services. These measures aim to expedite project completion while maintaining the highest standards of quality, contributing to the long-term development of the aviation industry. Shohei Hara, who made a site visit to inspect the BIA Terminal 2 construction area, expressed JICA's continued commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's infrastructure development and highlighted the importance of collaboration to achieve the shared goals of efficiency, sustainability and excellence in execution.
The Sri Lanka Maldives Business Council of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce hosted a media briefing today.
The Sri Lanka Maldives Business Council of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce hosted a media briefing under the theme Building Bridges between Sri Lanka and Maldives.
They have asked us to develop one of the northern port, which is in Kuludufushi Islands. So at the moment also they have a small port, but they want us to take it over with the partnership of Maldives and develop. So if we do that, we will get 50% tax waivers for whatever it's come from Sri Lanka, and also they are ready to support us. According to the geographical location where it is, we will have lot of advantage also. If we lose this opportunity, this might go to our neighboring other countries. I think this is a very good opportunity for us to start this project, and also they have asked us to start ferry service from Sri Lanka to Malé. If we have a ferry service, we can sort out two problems. We can help for the tourism sector, as well as we can transport the fruit and vegetable very cost-effective way.
The event marked the launch of the dedication report and unveiled a landmark CSR project.
The 101st death anniversary of Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam was commemorated today.
The event to mark the 101st death anniversary of Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam took place at the Sir Arunachalam statue at the premises of the Presidential Secretariat. The laying of floral tributes took place in the presence of relatives of Sir Arunachalam.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.